A recent question from a member of our Facebook group asks, how do I get started and where do I begin in turning my love life around? So I made this video to introduce some beginner's concepts of attracting your perfect partner or re-attracting your wife, girlfriend, or ex. The process is always the same. I pulled back the curtain on a few of the methodologies we use in the first 3 weeks of the Dating and Relationship Fundamentals video course and coaching program. Some men prefer to go it alone. So again, I've taken the snippets out of the first 3 weeks of the coaching program so that you can get started all on your own. Even though you'll find some great success by following this material, I highly recommend setting up a free call with me. The link is below, and see if the entire program is right for you. There really is no substitute for having someone troubleshoot your sticking points and give you personalized assistance in your particular situation. And just so you know, I am proud and humbled to say that I really do have a 100% success rate with the men I am honored to assist in their dating and relationships within 2 months. But if you aren't quite ready to make that big leap and finally get this handled because you aren't sure if you'll be successful, keep watching. How's it going? Ed Baxter here from Genuine Attraction, where we teach men how to get out of their heads and into her heart and attract their perfect partner. So if you're new here and you enjoy what you're learning, consider subscribing. And hey, at any point during the video, check out the links for the books I'm going to recommend in this video in the description below. So let's get started. One major problem that guys have is they just don't know what they don't know, and they don't really know how to get started. And so the coaching and video course is designed to get you from shy and confused to having confidence and clarity in your dating and relationship so you can find and attract your perfect partner. And that's the whole point of the coaching course. But if you don't know where to get started, again, I've pulled bits and pieces out of the first 3 weeks of the 9-week coaching program. So it's going to hit on Uniquely You, which identifies all your intrinsic worth and the cool things that are attractive about you. And then the second week in Compelling Vision, we identify what your compelling vision needs to be and why that's important to the feminine and why that makes you attractive and how it brings you a lot of self-worth towards yourself. It makes you proud of yourself and really builds self-esteem and inner security. And then in the third week, in Unleash Yourself, we identify what habits you need to take consistently to meet those compelling vision goals. And so if a guy's looking to get started and he doesn't know where to begin, again, he doesn't know what he doesn't know. So I've curated a short list of books based on the week Uniquely You that you can do some self-study and hopefully figure out the areas that are sticking points for you. Normally in the coaching calls, you don't have to read these books because I identify these sticking points for you and you can get really targeted and figure these out within just a few short weeks. So the first part of discovering your blind spots is, the first book I want to recommend is The Way of the Superior Man. Now, The Way of the Superior Man is really good in discovering your masculine role in your own life and how that pertains to the feminine. You know, it helps you in sex, love, and life. And it's an amazing book. It is a little bit esoteric, and for a lot of guys, they have a hard time distilling some of the tenets down. But for other guys, when you read that book, you're going to be like, wow, why didn't I read this before? This is an amazing book. It gives me some fundamental guidance on how I should be addressing the world and addressing my life, especially when it comes to relationships with women. The second book I want to recommend is called Hold On to Your Nuts. And this is a little bit more of a bathroom reader practical guide. Now, actually, all these books kind of are like bathroom readers. You can just pick up a book and just read one chapter and it'll take you 5 minutes. Instead of looking at your phone, you can read one chapter of each one of these books. And you'll find that in just a few short weeks, you'll have gone through all of them and you'll have identified your specific sticking points. So again, going back to Hold On to Your Nuts, this talks about a nut being your non-negotiable, unalterable terms. So in other words, it helps augment what The Way of the Superior Man talks about and also sets up healthy boundaries and what you need to be doing as a husband, as a boyfriend, and how you need to use that to move forward. So I highly recommend that book. Now, the third book that I like to recommend is No More Mr. Nice Guy. Now, if you've been in this group or you've been in any kind of man space before, you know that No More Mr. Nice Guy is kind of like one of the Bibles that they have men read. Now, this book deconstructs all the needy approval-seeking patterns that men have. And it's really good if you're trying to figure out sticking points, right? You're going to read this book, and if you can identify or you can resonate with these things, you're going to be like, holy shit, I've been doing things all wrong. So again, these books build upon each other, and I highly recommend reading them in that order. And the fourth book that I want to recommend is The 5 Love Languages. And that helps you discover how you relate to people romantically or relate to women romantically. Now that's very important to go through these 4 books because one, it's going to pull the curtain back and show you what you've been doing wrong, and it'll kind of blow your mind away. And each one of these books is supporting in each other in the way that they do things. So if you take The Way of the Superior Man, it's going to be very esoteric. It's going to be very, I'm not sure how this applies in my real life. Then you read Hold On to Your Nuts, and it'll show you directly how to apply that. And then No More Mr. Nice Guy is going to show you all the little idiosyncrasies and the problems and insecure behaviors that you're doing that are actually repelling women, and show you that how you actually need to step forward and lead in your life. And these are all about getting a baseline. Like, you're going to read these books and you're going to say, oh, wow, I can see exactly what's wrong. And now I can take inventory. And that's the second step. The first step is you read those books. The second step is you take inventory, right? And the inventory that you're going to take is, where are you now? Where do you want to go? And what are the steps I need to take to get there? So if you read these books, you should be taking notes, and you shouldn't just be taking mental notes. You ought to be journaling these things, journaling all these items that you need to address. Now, in the second part, taking inventory, you really want to get clear on where you are and who you are, what kind of guy you are. And you want to figure out, where do you want to go? So you're going to want to establish, what does it look like? What's the end game look like? And how am I going to get there? Right? So the third part is breaking down those steps on how you're going to get there and developing habits. Okay? So developing habits is that's a whole course in and of itself, but I'll go over it a little bit here so that you can, some mindsets that are really helpful for me when I'm trying to develop a new habit, and they may be helpful for you, okay? So the first part is you have to develop your why for each one of these habits. And you should have already identified what those habits are in step 2. When you start taking inventory, you're gonna be like, okay, what are these habits that I need to do? When I break down these goals of where I wanna go and what habits do I need to do, they could pertain to your dress, your life, your health, by meaning exercising or diet. They could be working at a job, developing your compelling vision. What is that compelling vision? What are the goals that you have for your life? And developing really good goals and trying to break those goals down into daily habits that you can do consistently day in and day out. And what you want to do is, when you're trying to do these habits, you're going to set a start point sometime in the future. There's a lot of talk about, okay, maybe I should just do it today, right? Just do it today. But it's better if you come up with a plan and you set a start date and you just go from that date. Now, if you can't do the habit, if for whatever reason you can't do it and you can't make yourself do it that day, back up, journal it, and ask yourself why. And this is where morning and evening routines are very helpful. It'll help you get into the habit of at least cataloging what's going on. And what you're going to want to do is you want to remove any barriers to make doing the habit as easy as possible. So for instance, if you don't want to eat junk food, get rid of all the junk food in the house. If you want to go to the gym, lay out all your clothes the morning before. Or if it's that difficult and you identify that thing that's just like this stupid little barrier, that's keeping you from wanting to do it. Like, one of the things for me for shooting video was I had to set up the camera. I had to set up this teleprompter here. Today, I'm not using a teleprompter. I'm using points that I'm going on. That's why it's not so polished. And doing all these things to set it up was like, oh, if I do this, it's gonna take 4 hours to do a video that's only 10 minutes, right? And so what I did was, I did things like buy a teleprompter, buy some software, buy a camera I can set up real well. Everything's pre-set up, and I have shirts over here on the hanger that I can use. I've got all this space set up to where all I have to do is within 10 minutes, I can get it set up and ready to go. And that's what it means by removing the barriers to entry, right? And again, be a dog with a bone. In other words, just because you failed today doesn't mean you're going to fail tomorrow. And it doesn't mean you're going to fail the next day. So if you didn't do it today, just say, well, I'm going to do it tomorrow. And be like a dog with a bone. Don't let it go. Don't let that habit go. Don't let whatever it is that you need, let it go. Don't do it. Just keep at it. Keep at it. Eventually you will get it. And the last point of starting new habits is you got to reiterate. So, one good example is, my wife and I and our 2-year-old, we were going to go rafting this weekend. And you may see I may be peeling a little bit. I got sunburned. I was like, I'm a man. I don't need no sunscreen. And, well, I paid the price for that. And So, but we didn't know what we would need to do, right? We only had one car. We had to drive 45 minutes away, and you got a start point and an end point. What do? Like, you put your raft here and then you go down here, but you left your car over here. So we had to figure out all the logistics of this and like snacks and the little kid. And it's going to be 3 hours on this thing. And so we planned it, but we knew that we wouldn't have everything figured out ahead of time. You try to, but then reality is a little bit different. So we did it. And now if we're going to do it again, we know a little bit more, right? We can, next time we reiterate it, we know, okay, we're going to set up an Uber to have the guy pick me up and move me to the other place. I'm going to wear sunscreen, obviously. I know that it's going to take about an hour longer than I thought. I thought it was going to only take 2 hours. It really takes 3. And that means that we found some locations that we would want to set up about half the distance. Now, we were able to identify these. It's in the middle of the city of Charlottesville, so it's kind of hard to find like loading or docking areas to do it, right? But that's what I mean. You reiterate, okay? You reiterate all the things that you're doing that keep you from doing the habit, right? So if you don't do the habit today, you go back to your journal. What were the mindsets that would keep me from doing the habit? And what do I need to change to make that different? Okay. Now, this isn't easy. None of it's easy. So one of the big tips that I always harp on is meditation. It's incredibly powerful to do meditation. And the reason why this is because when you're meditating and you're sitting there for 20 minutes in silence every day, and if you're still having problems, you do it twice a day, morning and evening, it gets you to watch yourself. It gets you to watch the things about yourself. It gets you to watch your thoughts in real time. Okay, so when you're meditating, you're going to see this, right? You're going to see the thoughts in real time, but you're not going to identify with them, and you're going to not let it bother you. You're not going to identify with them and all that stuff. But when you're meditating all the time, you'll find yourself falling into that, watching yourself think more and more during the day. And that's when you're able to take these notes, because now you can start identifying these thought patterns and these words you're saying to yourself, like, I don't want to go to the gym because I'm embarrassed having people watch me lift weights, right? And so then you can say, oh, okay, well, I can work with that. What do I need to do? Do I need to go on a different time of day? Do I need to just, whatever it happens to be, whatever you need to do to make that easier. Do I need a partner to have some emotional support or whatever? You can identify that by journaling these things. So again, meditation is really critical. And in the coaching program, it is a requirement to meditate every day. And if you've been one of my coaching clients, you know very well how much I harp on the meditation. I do it. I meditate every day, 20, 30 minutes or more if I can. And I have 2 small children. I have a 2.5 and a 6-year-old, or 5-year-old. He'll be 6 in Halloween, right before Halloween. But still, it's hard to do, right? I have to do it like at 9:30 at night. And I get up at 5 a.m. But that's how it goes, right? You got to fit that time, and you got to make the time. And when you do this, when you can make these habits, you can make these changes, and you start being successful in controlling yourself, you start to get a lot more self-assurance, self-esteem, because self-esteem is built and security is built. Self-security is built. You have to do things and achieve as a man to feel these things. You know, there's a lot of talk in culture these days. It's like, oh, well, you know, self-esteem, everybody's a winner and all this stuff. Like, well, just stay with your emotions and it'll be okay. And there is some value to that. But masculine energy feels powerful through setting up a barrier and punching through it and winning. That's a lot of, you'll read more about that in The Way of the Superior Man. He talks about masculine energy and why it's so important. That's why sports are so, wow, you know, you like score a touchdown, you're like, fuck yeah, man. If you follow these steps, read these 4 books, meditate, and consistently pursue your goals, you'll naturally find yourself feeling more worthwhile and confident without the need of validation or a woman's approval. This alone will make you happier and lighter in your life. That happiness and lightness will inoculate you against undesirable people attempting to take advantage of you, like so many men get taken advantage of by not so nice women. This will also have the side effect of making you more attractive, giving you many more options in your dating life because you just have a smile on your face. Again, we go deep into this process with several hours of video worksheets and setting and realizing clear and concise goals and troubleshooting where you're at and where you'd like to go each week on your one-on-one call with me in the Dating Fundamentals Coaching Program. If you're interested in being a part of the coaching program, click the link below and schedule a quick call with me. The call is free, and that's a great price. If you found value in this video, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and thanks for watching. And remember, stay unapologetically you. The thing is you don't, the thing that